As moms, we spend so much of our time making sure that everyone around us is taken care of, that our children are fed, clean, and loved. That can sometimes be easy to lose sight of our own needs in the process. But if there's one thing that motherhood has taught me, it's that you can't pour from an empty cup. And in order to give our best, to show up with joy, patience, and presence towards the people we love the most, we need to remember to fill up our own cup too. So today I want to share some small, realistic things that I've been doing that help me to feel my best, my days to feel smoother, for me to feel more balanced, even in the messy, busy season that is motherhood. Something I found is so much of feeling my best really comes back to my mindset. Am I in the right mental headspace to show up each day? To feel motivated, to be productive, to be present. And there are so many factors that play into mindset, but something that I've discovered is that at the beginning of each day, there are a few small things that I can do to help almost mentally signal to my brain that it's time to start the day, that it's time to show up and to get on with life. And for me, those two things are making my bed and getting dressed, even if I have nowhere to go. Making my bed is that first act of productivity that spurs a further productivity throughout the day. And something I really do for myself, I love crawling into a perfectly made bed at night. And so by making my bed first thing, it's an act of care for my future self. And then getting dressed, even if you don't have plans to leave the house that day. I mean, I worked remotely for years, and this was always something that I found so beneficial. Something really switches in your brain, even if you're just changing into loungewear, activewear, something comfortable for around the house. It signals to your brain, okay, let the day begin. I love how those two habits, while small, help bookend my days, providing me with a clear start and end to the day. When I make my bed and get dressed in the morning, and when I change into pajamas and crawl under the covers at night. They serve as gentle reminders that, okay, it's time to be productive, and then it's time to rest. And something small that's been making a big difference for me lately is focusing on nourishing from within and making small changes to my diet that can support my body and overall health. I try to be consistent about taking my daily vitamins, eat fresh fruits and vegetables as much as I can, but then something I've more recently started doing is adding collagen to my morning smoothies or coffee. I went smoothie today. This is one of those tiny acts of self-care that I feel like I can actually keep up with even on busy days. It helps support my hair, my skin, both of which I've really been trying to work on this year. Let me show you. This is the collagen I've been using. It's the Collagen Peptides Plus from Quince, which a big thank you to Quince for partnering with me on today's video. What I love about Quince is they're all about high quality essentials at accessible prices. I've loved their bedding, their clothing for a while. Our entire bed setup is from Quince. My outfit today, actually. And you guys, it is so cozy. But if you didn't know, they actually offer some great, really high quality supplements too. The collagen has all the things I look for: clean ingredients, third-party testing, science-backed formulas, plus it's made in the USA. But the best part is it's affordable. They cut out the middleman and partner directly with top-tier manufacturers, so their collagen is only $30 for 30 servings, which is about 40% less than comparable supplements. Plus they offer free shipping, a 365-day money-back guarantee. So check it out, try the Quince collagen powder. I'll have it linked up for you in the description. I've really found that small, consistent changes like that can make such a difference in my overall health. As a mom, it can often feel like there's always something that you should be doing differently. We feel guilty for working, for not working, guilty when the house is messy or when we're cleaning instead of playing with our children. We feel guilty for wanting a break, for not enjoying every moment, for taking time to ourselves, for losing our patience. The list goes on. The truth is, and what I really had to come to terms with, is the fact that that mom guilt, those feelings, it just means you care, that you want what's best for your family. So what I've been trying to do lately is to release those feelings of guilt, not to give permission to the opinions of others or the curated moments that you see online, to let those make me feel like I'm falling short. And then also just reminding myself too, my child does not need a perfect mom. He needs a present, loving one who is trying to grow a little bit more patient and a little bit more present every day. I've been finding a lot of comfort and confidence in that. Now that doesn't mean doubts or guilt never creep in, but when they do, what I'm working on is just trying to catch them before they really spiral, and just to remind myself of what is true. That I love my family, I'm doing the best that I can. I find that the more that I do that I remind myself of what is true, the easier it gets and the quieter those doubts become. Taking care of a child is a lot of work, and as you add more children to the picture, it only gets harder, especially if you're trying to do it all on your own. There's a reason they say it takes a village to raise a child. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it from your village, your people. This might be your spouse, your family, your friends. Often people are more than willing to help. They're even excited and wanting to. They're just waiting for you to ask. So schedule a date night and ask someone to watch your child. Have your spouse watch your kids for a morning or afternoon so you can enjoy some alone time to relax and recharge. Or maybe if you have a lot to get done, ask your parents if they might be able to watch your kids for an entire day or even an overnight sleepover at their place so you can get what you need to done. When I first had my baby, I had a really hard time letting other people watch him and take care of him. I felt like I needed to be doing it all myself. But as I've started asking for help and letting a few trusted people take care of Oliver here and there, I've really found it to be so freeing, helpful, and even just those small breaks really do make a huge difference. Something small that you can do that I find totally changes the mood in our home is just to play some music. Creates such a cozy environment. I love it, my kid loves it. It just makes everything feel a bit lighter and a bit more cheerful. Whether you want to have a dance party or just set the mood for playtime, I feel like playing music just helps make your home feel more fun. If you want it to be, this can be kids music, but often I just play music I enjoy, and Oliver honestly loves it. When caring for little humans, it can be easy for your own personal nourishment and hydration to get put on the back burner. But properly nourishing our bodies, drinking water, it's foundational to making sure that we can show up for ourselves and the people we love. At least I know that if I have a dehydration related headache, or maybe I'm a little bit hangry, I'm just not the best parent that I can be. So something I'm trying to get better at remembering to do is, as I'm feeding my child, making sure he drinks water, to be doing the same for myself. Topping up my water bottle when needed, drinking electrolytes as needed, making nourishing meals for myself, or packing snacks if we're going out. This is one of those things that sounds so simple, it's like, duh, you need to eat and drink. But if I'm being honest, sometimes when I'm in mom mode, I just forget, which of course leaves me not feeling at my best and makes it harder for me to give my best to my child. So if you often find yourself guilty of this one too, here's some gentle encouragement to make sure that you're eating, that you're staying hydrated throughout the day. And try to make it good for you foods too that will really help fuel you with energy. Expecting to be able to be as productive or to get as much done as maybe you once did in your pre-baby life just isn't realistic. If anything, I find that holding those expectations really just sets me up for feelings of failure and stress. So something I've been working on is just adjusting my expectations. We need to redefine, what does success or productivity or even balance, what does that look like to you in this season of motherhood? And just maybe it's not about doing more, but it's about doing what matters most. I love, there's a trend going around on Instagram I've seen where somebody's talking about how they got nothing done today, but they fed their child, they cared for their child, they spent time with their child, they played with their child, they made their kid that day feel seen, heard, and loved, and that's what it's all about, right? So on days where I'm not able to get as much work done as I'd like to, things seem to be taking longer than they should, or just things go completely off the rails, because there are days like that too. I just try to give myself grace to focus on what matters and to remember that this is just a season. It's not always going to look like this, but here and now, I just need to shift my perspective about what balance, productivity, all of the things look like. Because the circumstances of my life are just different now than when I was 20 years old and had no kids and no responsibilities. These days, I don't always have time for a full workout, but since I've stepped into motherhood, a motto that I've been trying to live by is something is better than nothing. And so even on busy days where I don't have time for a perfect workout, I'll always try to do something to move my body. Sometimes this is literally as simple as a walk around our block, maybe some stretching, or if I have more time, I do love going on longer walks or getting a workout in. I do a lot of home workouts. Honestly, every day it looks a little bit different, but I really do find that moving my body does so much to improve my mental headspace. I feel better. I fall asleep more easily at night when I work out. So incorporating some form of daily movement is something I really find vital. Then, especially as we move into the colder months as well, I'm a big believer too in getting fresh air. During winter, it can be really tempting just to want to stay inside at all times to stay cozy and warm. But as humans, we are not designed just to go from box to box to box, from your house to the store to work and then back again. There's nothing quite like getting outside to just reset your mental headspace, allowing the sunlight to calm your nervous system. Not to mention, parenting kids when they spend lots of time outside, it's just easier because nature, the outdoors, it has the same effect on them too. They're calmer, they're happier, they're more at peace. And so as the weather grows colder, here's your little reminder to bundle up, but continue to get outdoors. Tidying is something that I try to stay on top of throughout the day, but at the very least, at night, after my child has gone to bed, I like to spend 5 to 10 minutes just cleaning up and resetting our home. And usually we'll start this with our toddler as he's getting ready for bedtime, but then once he's asleep, we'll finish up and just pick up all the toys, all the mess, all the random stuff scattered around the house. And just give everything a bit of a reset. And that way, as we're winding down for the evening, we're able to enjoy a peaceful, calm, tidy environment, the kind that we don't really get during the day. And we find that it really helps us to relax better because there aren't just things everywhere all the time, and we can enjoy at least a couple of hours a day of visual peace. Once your kids go down for bed, especially after a long day, it can be so tempting just to want to flake out on the couch and to go into full zombie mode for a couple of hours before it's time for bed. And I'm not against that. Every so often, it's just what you need. But when I have the energy, the capacity for it, I really like to try to strategically use the couple of hours between my kids' bedtime and my bedtime to very intentionally wind down, to rest, and to reset. I'll practice some self-care, do some skincare, maybe a face mask. If I remember, light a candle, make tea most nights, especially in the winter. And just generally, I try to use it as a bit of me time, or at least time for me and my husband. What I found is that as a mom, it can be really easy for me to say, oh, I don't have time for whatever that small act of self-care is. Oh, I just don't have time for it. But what I found was at night, there was actually a couple hour window of time that I could do what I wanted. I was just using it completely zoned out in front of a TV. So lately I've been trying to recapture that time and just to use it strategically, understanding that yes, my alone hours these days are limited, but they're not non-existent. It's just about being intentional with the time that I have. So my encouragement to you in this is maybe just to think through what are some of those small things that you miss, that maybe you've been telling yourself you don't have the time for, or wish that you did more regularly, things that help you relax, rewind, recharge. And then tonight and throughout this week, try to incorporate some of those things into the time that you spend winding down each night. Play some music, enjoy a treat, do a face mask, or give your partner a massage and let them return the favor. This can look however you want it to, but just try to be intentional about those couple of hours that you spend as you wind down for the evening. I know that as a parent, sleep can be a struggle between kids struggling to go down for or staying asleep all night, you trying to get a few last things done before going to sleep yourself, or finally wanting a few minutes to yourself. It can be tempting to push your bedtime back or to wake up earlier to see just how little sleep you can survive off of. But I want to encourage you, even though that may be tempting and even occasionally called for, in talking about wanting to feel well, to feel rested, to feel like you're able to show up as your best self, that's not a way to live long term. Sleep is one of the core pillars of health, and when we prioritize it, not only do we feel better, but everything feels a bit lighter too. Rest and deep sleep especially helps calm our nervous system, making us less reactive, more patient, and more emotionally balanced, which practically translates to everyday challenges like toddler messes or meltdowns. It makes those stressful moments moments a little bit more manageable. They don't feel as overwhelming, not because anything about the situation is different, but you're just better rested and equipped to be able to navigate that situation. So even in seasons like the newborn stage where sleep really does feel like a luxury, I found prioritizing sleep to be hugely beneficial, even if that means spending 10 hours in bed so that I can hopefully get 7 hours of sleep. Fortunately, these days it's a lot easier than that, but even in those hard seasons, make it a priority. Your body will thank you for it. Motherhood will always have its busy, messy, even hard moments, but if we can remember to, as we go throughout each day, if we can remember to slow down and to take time to refill our own cup, to practice some self-care, to rest and to recharge, even if it's in small ways, it can give us the energy, the strength that we need to enjoy this fleeting season and to love our families well. And that's my hope for you, that this week you can find a few small ways to take care of yourself so that you can feel your best. And I'd love to know, what are some of those small things that you want to do this week? Let me know in the comments. But as always, friends, thank you so much for watching, for being here, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye, friends.